Think about this. Some of the people closest to you are not your enemies. They are something worse. They are frenemies. Friends who smile at you, support you in public, then quietly weaken you when you turn your back. If that sounds uncomfortable, good. Because if you cannot name it, you cannot defend against it. Balthazar Grazian captured this dynamic centuries ago with brutal precision. Friendship multiplies the good of life and divides the evil, but beware of those who praise you too much. That line is not poetic. It is a warning, because praise is not always support. Sometimes praise is surveillance. Sometimes praise is a way to stay close enough to measure you, compare themselves to you, and make sure you do not pull too far ahead. This is where most men get it wrong. They think enemies are loud. They think danger announces itself. They think betrayal looks like aggression. It does not. In real social dynamics, the most dangerous person is often the one who calls himself your friend. Robert Greene puts it plainly. Be wary of friends. They will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. Notice what he says. Not hatred, envy, quiet envy, polite envy, the kind that claps for you while hoping you lose. If you miss this, you will keep blaming yourself. You will think you overshared. You will think you trusted the wrong person by accident. You will think you just had bad luck. You did not. You were dealing with a frenemy. And today, you are going to learn how to identify them without becoming paranoid, how to limit the damage they cause, and how to protect your momentum without turning bitter or isolated. This is not about becoming antisocial. This is about becoming aware. Primal Psychology. Because human beings are not equal in intent, and closeness does not equal loyalty. Your enemy does not always want to destroy you. Sometimes he just wants to keep you small. Rule 1. Closeness is not proof of loyalty. This is the first illusion you have to break. Time spent together does not equal alignment. History does not equal respect. Shared jokes do not equal goodwill. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology gave it cleaner language. Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, because everyone can see, but few can feel. Translated to modern life, people judge by appearance and access, not intention. If someone looks like a friend, acts like a friend, and has proximity to you, you assume safety. That assumption is the opening. Here is how it plays out. You tell a friend about a move you are making, a new job, a project, a personal shift. He reacts positively, encouraging, supportive. Then come the questions. How exactly are you doing it? Who is involved? How much are you risking? What is your plan if it fails? The questions feel harmless. They feel interested. But information is never neutral. Information creates positioning. 2 weeks later, you notice something subtle. Your plans are being discussed by people you never told. Your confidence is being framed as recklessness. Your ambition is being softened into a joke. Your friend never attacked you. He just narrated you. That is how frenemies operate. They do not confront. They contextualize you downward. How this affects you if you do not understand it. You start self-censoring. You delay decisions. You explain yourself more. You look for reassurance from the very people who benefit from your hesitation. This is not weakness of character. It is leakage of position. Primal psychology is simple here. In any group, access equals influence. If someone has access to you, they can shape the perception of you. The correction is not confrontation. It is filtration. You do not cut people off emotionally. You reduce informational access. The more someone needs to know what you are doing, the less they deserve to know it. Rule 2. Watch their reaction to your success, not their comfort during your failure. Anyone can be kind when you are losing. Failure is safe. Failure does not threaten hierarchy. When you fail, people can mentor you, console you, advise you. It places them above you. Success is different. Success forces comparison, and comparison reveals intent. Robert Greene's warning applies again, cleanly. Be wary of friends. They will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. Example, you share good news, a promotion, a breakthrough, momentum. The reaction is off. A half smile, a delayed response, a comment that sounds supportive, but subtly shrinks the achievement. Must be nice. Hope it does not get to your head. Just make sure you do not change. Those sentences are not neutral. They are attempts to anchor you back to a version of yourself that feels safe to them. If you ignore this pattern, something dangerous happens. You start minimizing your wins. You stop sharing progress. You dull your own edge to keep others comfortable. That is how men lose power without ever being attacked. This is why Grazian's warning matters so much. Beware of those who praise you too much. Sometimes praise is a leash. They praise you, so you stay open, so you stay available, so you keep feeding them access. Your correction is behavioral, not emotional. You do not confront. You do not accuse. You simply change how much access they have to your inner world. A loyal friend celebrates your success and respects you more. A frenemy praises you and tries to manage you. This is where we stop for now. In the next part, we go practical. How to limit access without drama. How to limit information without looking paranoid. How to run small tests that expose intent without confrontation. Because once you see frenemies clearly, you stop losing energy to fake support. And that changes everything. That is primal psychology. If you confront a frenemy directly, you lose. If you stay blind to them, you bleed slowly. The goal is not to expose them. The goal is to neutralize their influence. This is where most men fail. They think protection means cutting people off aggressively. It does not. Protection means controlling access. Rule 3. Frenemies feed on information. This is the rule that changes everything. A frenemy does not need to hurt you directly. All he needs is information, your doubts, your plans, your insecurities, your next move. Sun Tzu warned about this long before modern social psychology gave it a name. All warfare is based on deception. Social life is not different. Information is terrain. And if you give away your terrain, you cannot complain when someone uses it. Example, you talk openly about a project you are building. You explain timelines, you explain fears, you explain risks. Your frenemy listens quietly. He nods. He seems interested. Later you notice subtle resistance forming around you. People questioning your timing. People doubting your ability. People repeating concerns you only shared privately. Nothing is traced back to him. That is the point. How it affects you if you do not understand this. You feel blocked, not attacked, confused, not betrayed. You think the environment turned against you randomly. It did not. Your information was weaponized. Primal psychology. Men think power is dominance. It is not. Power is control over what others can see and know. Correction. You do not become silent. You become selective. You stop narrating your life. You stop explaining moves before results exist. You stop sharing inner processes with people who have no stake in your success. The less people know about your direction, the harder it is to sabotage. Rule 4. Frenemies test boundaries to measure you. A frenemy is always probing, not aggressively, casually. They joke at your expense. They interrupt you lightly. They challenge your decisions in public, but frame it as concern. This is not accidental. Machiavelli understood this behavior precisely. If you want to know the character of a man, give him power. Social power is tested in small moments. Example: a friend makes a dismissive joke about your ambition in front of others. You laugh it off. You stay calm. You do not correct it. Inside, you feel something tighten. That moment mattered, because what you communicated was not maturity. It was permissiveness. How it affects you if you ignore this. The behavior escalates. The jokes get sharper. The challenges get public. Your position erodes without conflict. And then one day, you are no longer the reference point in the room. Primal psychology again. Boundaries are not spoken. They are enforced. Correction. You do not explode. You do not lecture. You pause. You look at them. You respond minimally. That does not land well. Say that again. Silence plus eye contact is a boundary. Frenemies retreat when they realize the cost is real. Disrespect grows where consequences are absent. Rule 5. Run small tests instead of asking big questions. Here is where intelligence replaces paranoia. You do not accuse people. You do not ask, "Are you really my friend?" That is weakness. You observe behavior under pressure. Robert Greene gives you the strategic frame here. Never assume that the person you are dealing with is weaker or less important than you. Translated: never assume loyalty. Test alignment. Example: you mention a plan that is incomplete or intentionally vague. Not a lie. A partial truth. You share it with 1 or 2 people. Then you watch. Does it stay contained? Does it return distorted? Does it appear in rooms you were not in? Information travels only if someone carries it. How it affects you if you never test. You live blind. You trust on emotion. You expose yourself repeatedly. Correction. You test quietly. You adjust access accordingly. Those who contain information earn more proximity. Those who leak get distance. No confrontation required. Loyalty reveals itself under silence, not conversation. Rule 6. Frenemies cannot stand your independence. This is the final tell. The moment you stop needing approval, advice, or validation, frenemies destabilize. They push harder. They seek reassurance. They try to reinsert themselves. Why? Because your independence removes their leverage. Machiavelli said it cleanly. He who is the cause of another becoming powerful is ruined. Some people want you strong, just not stronger than them. Example: you stop sharing doubts. You stop asking opinions. You move quietly. Suddenly the same people become anxious. They ask more questions. They frame concern as care. You feel the shift. How it affects you if you misunderstand this. You mistake their anxiety for love. Your open access. You give back control. Correction. You stay calm. You stay kind. You stay unavailable. Distance without hostility is power. If someone panics when you stop explaining yourself, they were never supporting you. Frenemies are not monsters. They are humans trapped in comparison, envy, and insecurity. But understanding them does not mean accommodating them. It means outgrowing them. You do not owe access. You do not owe explanations. You do not owe proximity. You owe yourself clarity. In the final part, we will close this with one question that determines everything. Who actually benefits from your openness? And once you answer that honestly, you will never look at your social circle the same way again. There is one final truth most men never face. Frenemies do not destroy you loudly. They erode you quietly. They drain momentum. They dilute confidence. They blur your sense of direction. And the most dangerous part is that they do it while smiling. Machiavelli understood this dynamic deeply. He wrote that men should either be treated generously or destroyed, because if you harm a man lightly, he will seek revenge. But if you cut his ability to act, he becomes irrelevant. In modern life, this is not about cruelty. It is about decisive distance. You do not need drama. You do not need confrontation. You do not need explanations. You need structure. Example, think about someone in your life who always knows what you are doing, who always has an opinion, who always seems close but never actually helps you advance. Notice what happens when you stop feeding them information. At first, nothing. Then discomfort. Then subtle pressure. They ask questions. They test access. They reframe concern as care. That is not friendship. That is loss of control. How it affects you if you fail to see this. You keep explaining yourself. You keep justifying decisions. You keep shrinking to stay accepted. And slowly, you lose authority over your own life. Primal Psychology. Men who hold power do not broadcast their inner world. They move quietly. They speak deliberately. They reveal outcomes, not processes. Correction. You do not become cold. You become contained. You choose who sees what. You choose who knows when. You choose who stands close. This is not manipulation. This is self-preservation. Another truth. Frenemies cannot survive hierarchy. The moment you rise, they must either rise with you or fall away. Most will fall away. Not because you changed, but because you stopped being usable. Machiavelli warned that when fortunes change, old alliances fracture. Those who benefited from your lower position struggle to adapt to your ascent. Example, you improve your discipline, your standards rise, your tolerance for chaos drops. Suddenly, certain people feel uncomfortable around you. They joke less. They avoid eye contact. They disappear. That is alignment correcting itself. How it affects you if you resist this process. You chase people who no longer belong. You soften edges to keep company. You slow down to avoid being alone. Correction. You let separation happen. Power requires solitude at times. Clarity demands it. Now return to the beginning. Think about that moment when you felt small, ignored, overlooked, quietly diminished. It was not random. It was not bad luck. It was the result of uncontrolled access, unfiltered openness, unexamined loyalty. You are training people how to treat you. From now on, you train differently. You speak less about what matters. You observe more than you explain. You watch behavior instead of listening to words. You stop assuming goodwill where there is competition. That is not cynicism. That is awareness, final truth. The most dangerous enemy in your life is not the man who opposes you openly. It is the one who stands beside you while quietly undermining your position. Once you see this, you cannot unsee it. And once you adjust, your entire social reality changes. That is why not everyone can handle this knowledge. Some men need illusions to function, others choose clarity. If this reached you, you already know which one you are. That is Primal Psychology.